trying to get you guys the first 5 first and 10 plays that the offensive coordinator is calling. So our first game we're going to do is the 49ers versus Tampa Bay, first game of the season in 2019. Because you don't want to just hear my voice the entire time, I've got Evan Eastburn here with me, and he's going to do it too. Evan, introduce yourself.
Hey guys, Evan Eastburn. I'm the quarterbacks coach at the University of Dubuque in Iowa.
Yeah, it'll be fun, and obviously we are not in the offensive coordinator's mind, and so what we're going to talk about is what we see on the film and our interpretation of it. So let's get it rolling. Play 1 of 5, the split zone RPO.
So what you're seeing is a yap motion with Kittle coming in to an offset tight ends. What you're going to see is basically a split zone RPO with the fullback getting out in the flat, MOR here by your X, and then that cross swipe action to the EOL from Kittle off of that inside zone. So what they're trying to do here is they're trying to read this backside backer, giving him basically a run pass key with the fullback coming out. Probably a pre-snap read here for Jimmy G. Probably canceling it out because of the coverage contour, seeing press coverage from the corners with middle field close. Probably indicates to him that's cover 1 and that this backer is going to leave with the fullback into the flat.
So the one thing you brought up was your number 1 receiver down here. You said MOR. Take us through what MOR is.
Yeah, so what an MOR means is mandatory outside release. So what he's got to do is, regardless of this corner's leverage, is he's got to take the outside path, right? So it's not the easiest thing in the world. You see a lot of young receivers wanting to dip back inside and then get back to their highway. But really quick jab, getting outside. What he's trying to do is, if they are disguising here, if it is some version of cloud coverage here, that this corner's eyes have to go outside so the fullback has free access to the flat here, right? The last thing that they want to happen is have him come inside, that corner bails out, right, where they can pass this thing off with the linebacker. Now he's in a position to get that pick 6 in the flat, or at the least absolutely destroy your fullback here.
Excellent.
That's why he's got to take that outside.
All right, so now let's go to the end zone view, and let's have a look at the blocking scheme they used on the play. So if you want to just go ahead and draw it up.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we're seeing is the constant debate, whether it's duo or inside zone. What we're going to see is your play side tackle securing the C gap, play side guard basing out on the 3, center basing out on the nose, and then you're going to see your backside gap combo at 45 here. They're going to swipe back for 58 in the EOL, and then they're going to read 54 with that fullback into the flat. So you're going to see a Jimmy G step off the midline, give their back a nice clean path to chase that center's hip. What he's going to be key in here is his leverage, right? He can either bang it through A gap, bend it all the way back, or look to bounce all the way outside here.
Excellent. Let's play it through and let's watch the blocks progress. The one thing I notice here is the backside guard. He's very quick to start his climb, and I don't know if it's because the mic starts playing over the top, or the will, I guess, in this picture, but he starts playing over the top, so it makes him want to get off that. So they must have that running back pressing front side for him to want to get off that quickly.
Yeah. So
when you get into this tight zone stuff, it's whether the guy's reading the front side D tackle or the backside. Now this is different because you got 3-0-3 here, but who's the running back reading? So it looks like he's really pressing that front side. So like you said, he's chasing the center's block. His eyes are probably getting to the front side as a result. And then the front side guard, you can't teach this with the front side guard here, the way he flips his hips right there. and gets underneath that guy. That's an impressive play. It's a great athlete.
Absolutely, and typically what teams will do when they're facing this double eagle, bear front, however you want to term it, is opposed to just having this two-man combo, right, is they'll start incorporating three-man zones or really even four-man zones back to that backer. If you're seeing a team that's going to run interior twist games between the nose and the two tackles, that's really an easy adjustment mid-game where really you get your offensive line thinking more gap scheme as opposed to a count system. Kind of turn this into more of a true duo concept. You're seeing a lot of two gap from this nose here, so probably not the easiest read for that center, right? But expanding your combos to a 3- and 4-man combo would definitely help here.
Now let's analyze play 2, the weak side ISO. All right, so we got the second 1st and 10 play, and let's look at the blocking scheme and the entire play development.
Yeah, so you're seeing as a duo set. Love this stuff, especially in the mid-red here. Especially if you've got tight ends like the Niners. I know very few teams have that, but this sort of alignment I think is a great matchup in the mid-red. Giving this guy an angle read where he can break to the post or corner, run double post. There's a ton of stuff you can do with that. And one reason I like this a lot is that it typically creates a fairly predictable adjustment from the defense. Teams are either going to run cloud, some version of 4 to it, or if you're seeing a team like the Bucs here, their standard cover 1 work. So able to match up a bigger body on a corner, a guy who's not necessarily as physical as a linebacker or a safety that they'd be going against here. But quick motion here from their wing from Kittle, and then run that split side ISO here. So could be a check with me at the line of scrimmage where they're compartmentalizing play calls. But obviously there's no substitute for the push that these guys are getting inside. Charles, I'll let you talk about that backside combo. But man,
before we got into that, I was gonna make a note here. This is their second 1st and 10 play, but they're, like you said, they're into the red zone right now. So now you've got your red zone broken down into different areas and how they treat that. So take us through here what you're talking about, the different part of the red zone right here.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, whenever you're game planning, for your next week's opponent, I had a mentor of mine my first year as an offensive coordinator. His best advice he gave me was to keep everything situational. And that not only goes for formation, but down and distance and field zone as well. So I don't think it's anything revolutionary where a defense is typically going to change up what they do once you cross the 30 or even the 25-yard line. Teams are going to get usually a little bit more aggressive. Obviously, they don't have to defend that deep post anymore, so they can bring in a little bit tighter coverage. They can be a little bit more aggressive with the blitz packages they include. But typically what you're looking is the way I've broken it down. I've gotten way too detailed with hey, this is a 3-yard section where they're going to do this, and you end up breaking down 2 plays over and over. Or you split it up between low red, mid red, and then high red. So for me, high red was between the 30 and the 15. Mid red was between the 15 and the 5, and then low red was 5 and in. And then really you have that 4 sections if you're on the goal line. If they have if you are a heavy personnel team down there, a lot of people are kind of living in 11 and 10 personnel these days, but if they bring in a true goal line defense, you're including that in as well. So in this mid-red, obviously you're not going to have your full complement of plays. It's going to be a little bit more difficult to take the top off, but you're going to see typically a little bit more aggressive look from the defense, more man coverage the closer you get, and then find ways to take advantage of that. So I think this is a nice job with the Niners getting into a 22 personnel look and playing smash mouth ball. I think it's a simple game. You block, and if you can get some push up front, you're going to be doing all right.
Yeah. So if you look at their openers, they might have had, their 10 1st and 10 plays that they wanted to do. It'd be interesting to know if this was truly their second one that was on their list, or they went to their mid-red zone calls But, looking at this one here, this could be a true 1st and 10 anywhere on the field, really. But it might bump you out, like you said, if you had a deep post as your second call, it might bump you out of that call and put you into this next one here. So let's look at the play from the end zone here.
Okay. So you're seeing split side ISO here with the fullback leading on 54. Run it back to the start. You see the right tackle facing out the end, right guard facing out the defensive tackle, fullback ISOing on 54, a backside combo, 45, man cutoff on the backside, man cutoff on 94 here, short motion from the second tight end leading up for the 4th player. So kind of a double ISO package here with a J block on the backside. Obviously, if you're getting this 3-man surface to the weak side of the formation, this is a great concept. It's got great angles. Really allows the center and left guard to really hang on this double team and get some great push here.
Yeah, like you said, it's great angles, especially the backside. You got 2 guys basing out, and then the guy in motion can fit up inside that. It just gives a great cutback lane.
Yeah. So from a running back standpoint, typically what you're going to see from the right guard is kind of an influence base. He's probably going to attack with slight outside leverage and really be strong with his inside hand to get this guy thinking, I'm getting reach so he can fight pressure with pressure. Running back's going to press that block. And again, just like inside zone on the last 1st down, right? Look to really press this thing inside, and most likely his second cut will be off of that double team to the backside there. And that's what ends up happening. You get some great watch when you shoot. Coach, I mean, that's about as good as it gets by that left guard, man.
Yeah, and also with you watch the fullback, and he runs it like he's got the ball. So right now the 3 technique stays outside on the guard, so he starts getting some width going. Fullback comes underneath and then fits up on 54, and then the tailback kind of chases him through the hole. There's a lot of great blocking right there. They're doing a great job.
Phenomenal. Really, one of the unsung heroes on this when you talk about being the backside block, not being the point of attack. Check out the left tackle there. I mean, that's dominance right there.
Yeah.
Love how
look at those. You just look at how much they cut the defense right there by basing those guys out and then inserting a new blocker in there rather than trying to make a combo on the backside and you start cutting it off. It gets condensed on the backside. You don't have this running lane that's created here for the running back. It's a beautiful play. Nice call.
Really excellent. Really excellent, man.
So now on to play 3, the quick pitch.
So second drive of the game, what they're doing here is creating a little bit of a coverage adjustment for the Bucs, splitting Kittle out and then motioning them into a 21 personnel, forcing them to spin their safeties the opposite way. Simple quick pitch here. One thing that I've noticed Shanahan does an awesome job with is varying up the spacing of his receivers. So right here you're seeing this shrink split from his X and Z. And one thing that does a great job of and really creates a problem for these corners is that it kind of forces them to either play press or play kind of a box look and play outside leverage on these guys. So if one thing these guys do a lot of is really selling these corner routes and then bringing it back inside, really taking advantage of that leverage. And if you're seeing a cover 1 team, cover 3 team that's going to play outside leverage, man, I mean, that's something you should be licking your chops on. Anytime you can get that free throwing lane with any sort of way to occupy the linebackers, man, that's an easy pitch to catch for these guys. And in this situation, really creates a great blocking angle on the outside. I can't tell you how many times as a coordinator that I've had my receiver take a max split trying to take this corner out of the picture, and then this corner knifes inside and really tries to bend everything back into that safety playing force. So it really creates a nice angle. for that receiver on the perimeter.
Yeah. All right, so we got the tight view now.
Kind of a funky blocking scheme here, man. Little interesting.
Yeah, they're stepping. It's kind of like turn back, the old turn back. They're stepping front side and then just opening the backside foot and letting them beat them backside there.
Yeah. It's a nice job of the fullback collecting this thing. I mean, really, like Coach Sharp said, very similar to turn back. Very similar to turn back. You'd like to see Kittle stay a little bit more square on this block where he's getting displacement. That's really all you want from your tight ends. But not necessarily giving their back a two-way go, forcing them back into 54. Wonder if there's some miscommunication here. Usually, if it's a quick pitch, you're going to block the front side linebacker. So, wonder if they're trying to get that tackle arcing out to him, and then the Bucs adjustment with the backers kind of takes him out of it.
Yeah, well, I think that's where that receiver probably has that crack option on it.
Yeah.
So he had to look at that. But the one nice thing with the tackle not trying to climb to it is that if he took an angle out right now, he would widen that DN, and that'd be a tough block for the fullback. But because he's straight up field, you see the DN kind of steps down and tries to condense first. So he plays down because the tackle's playing straight forward. So if that tackle widens at all, that DN would widen, and it might have blown up the play right now. And sometimes the back just has to make some people miss.
Yeah. They're on scholarship too, right?
Yeah, and he has great balance right there, so he runs through the arm tackle, breaks the tackle, and keeps going. Moving on to play 4 with a little West Coast offense, drop back pass. All right, so this is the fourth 1st and 10 call. Let's have a look at what they're doing here.
So you get same motion, same formation, seeing that press, a little bit different adjustment here from the Bucs, running with the motion as opposed to spinning their safeties.
Yeah, corners down on the number 1 to the boundary.
Yep. It's a great indicator. Anytime you can incorporate motion as a coverage cue for your quarterback is awesome. So, you're either going to see teams bump, spin, or run. Obviously, in the last clip, you saw them spin the safeties. This time they're running with them. It's a great indicator for a young quarterback to say, hey, they're in a man coverage set here. Anytime you can try and get that quarterback to identify coverage before the ball's even snapped, just allows him to play just a hair faster. So what you're going to see here is a little drive concept. Love the read. It's West Coast offense 101. You're going to see the basic cross, the wrap route, the dig, however you want to term that route from Kittle there. The shallow cross from the Z, and then the wheel from the fullback in the back. It's just a great, easy triangle read here for our quarterback. Reading at low to high levels, 1 to 2 to 3. Typically, you're going to see your running back out in the flat, kind of have a triangle addendum here. And I was thinking 1, 2, 3, right? And then some sort of 2-high beater on the back side. So really, really solid concept here. They get what they want. Great concept for first man. You got to see how the defense picks themselves off. But loving the release from the Z up top. Doesn't rush this thing. Kind of call it a golf cart start. Just kind of walking off the ball, a hezzy release, however you want to term this thing to your guys. But it does a great job, kind of lulling that corner to sleep and then using his athleticism to beat him across the space. Great concept versus cover 1. Great concept really versus any sort of middle field closed look. One thing I just want to draw attention to is watch how Kittle wraps his linebacker here. That is awesome. Awesome stuff. Whenever you're seeing a linebacker wall out, young guys have that inclination that they don't want to fight pressure. They want to dip back inside, take the path of least resistance. Does a great job expanding that window for the quarterback, right? Stacking and then wrapping him back inside. So, right. So he's going to have the option on this route. If you watch the top of the route here, right? He's running a little bit more like a hook, but he should have the option to stay on the move, settle in a first window, settle in the second window, right? and just work all this space here on top of him. That's a great job getting that linebacker out of the path. It's even more important if you're seeing a team in zone coverage. Any version of cover 3, phenomenal stuff right there. Really, really nice.
We'll watch the end zone of it here. We'll look at the protection. So with them dumping the fullback and the tailback out to the boundary, you got a 5-man pro. Okay. So it looks like right now you got 5 D linemen up. So you got big on big protection. Everybody's locked up. Great job in the protection. You can see the right tackle. He's a little bit more vertical on it. He has time with the tight end expanding the width of his player. So he's got some time. So he's putting a drag hand up inside to help with that with 93. So he's got his drag hand inside, help him with 93, and then he just slow plays 58. It's a great job. Yeah, you watch the left guard here, man. It's beautiful how fast he's getting hands on.
Absolutely, man. And one thing that's common is that they've got low hands in their set, and that's something that you've got to have if you're going to get any power in that punch. Whether you're teaching two-hand punch, independent hands, active hands, however you want to teach your pass pro, the common theme is that you've got to have low hands.
Yeah, and if you look at it here, this is it's kind of like it's the Howard Mudd expanding the dish right here. How aggressive they're setting and creating width from the quarterback. It's a great job.
I love the left tackle just keeping that shoulder square too.
Yeah,
that's an awesome job. I mean, really phenomenal stuff.
All right, go for it. Let's talk about the quarterback's mechanics on this.
Yeah. So one thing you pick up on watching Jimmy G is that the dude is an absolute technician, especially with his upper half. Little bit of wasted motion here. He passed the ball, but phenomenal job keeping his eye level the same. Phenomenal job with his arm angle. And then one thing I want to alert guys to is just how – talk about with my QBs, keeping your off arm quiet. Doesn't have a big wind up with his left arm, keeps the center of gravity north and south, where he's able to deliver a pretty catchable ball here. So does a great job getting depth whenever you're releasing from the line of scrimmage. Very important that first step creates as much separation from that center as possible. So great job on a traditional 5-step drop off that 5th step. Right, he wants to hold. Doesn't want to climb in the pocket. Does a great job stepping at his target. You can see his left arm here throughout his release does not flare the elbow. And that's something that is super important for any young quarterback, is keeping that elbow tight, keeping that left hand out of your vision so you're not blinking. You've got a constant eye contact with your target, right? And then bringing that elbow through and your right hip through as well. So that is textbook upper body mechanics right there.
All right, so now we've got the last play of the 5 openers, 5 first and 10 openers. So let's look at what we've got. Once again, we're in a potential area where you could have got off your calls just because they're backed up, but we'll just treat it like the first and 10 call.
Yeah. A little bit of misdirection here, and that's something Shanahan does an awesome job with throughout his play calling. Just messing with the eye discipline of these linebackers and force defenders. You've seen a ton of motion from these guys. I think every first down they had some version of motion, but creating this look here off of that jet sweep with their Z, just to hold those backers for a split second.
Yeah,
another nice element of it is the arc release here from Kittle. Really takes 2 guys with him. Just if you're concerned about any backside chase from a defensive end or an outside linebacker, nice job just to influence him out with this arc block.
So we'll go to the end zone here, and we'll look at the blocking scheme they've got, because it is an interesting one. So we got the
looks like there's potentially a little bit of miscommunication with 11.
Yeah.
Whenever you're running some sort of horn scheme, right, especially from bunch, you're expecting him to. Sorry, that was a terrible line. Right, expecting him to take a high angle on that end player here. In this case, an outside linebacker. Looks like he gets a little bit confused here. Ends up blocking 54. Don't know if that's an adjustment or not, right? But you'd like to see him seal this edge right here as opposed to having 54 play over the top.
Yeah, so he, if he's thinking he's blocking the end man on the line of scrimmage, they introduce a new end man on the line of scrimmage with him walking down. So he drops the DN with the action of the tackle pulling. Your DN's always going to play vertical on that. You're not going to get him to suck down. So that's a tough one. Wide receiver probably should have stepped down and picked up the DN, and then maybe the tackle could have wrapped his block and been on the linebacker that walked down.
Charles, you want to talk left guard here a little bit?
Yeah, so it's interesting because they're not climbing to the linebacker. They're really worried about this 3 tech, even though he's got the center coming with him. So I don't know why he stops on it and doesn't climb to the linebacker.
Still looks like a 4-man combo. You think that looks like he's crossing over just a hair here.
Yeah, and then
a little bit thicker through that to climb to that mic. Well, I guess the will in this case.
It's almost like that's where they want to cut the defense. They were going to wall it right there because you look at the backside tackle and he is running through and he's trying to get to that linebacker.
You're having a dang athletic tackle if he's
to try and catch up from the backside, but he got him. He got him.
You see some guys, whenever they're running their pin pulls, they'll actually pull this guy as well for that pull-up. They're not the best angles on this play versus double eagle. You're probably better suited just running an outside zone concept.
Yeah, they had a good call defensively, put them in a tough spot here, and you just hope your running back can get back to the line of scrimmage. Yeah. So, which looks like he barely made it back to the line of scrimmage. There was a lot of missed blocks on this one. The grading out on this play was probably not very high, which is not good when you're backed up. Coaches, I hope you enjoyed the first episode of the First Five. Please feel free to share it with your friends on whatever social media platform you use. Like all the stuff around, doesn't matter if you're not full screen because I'm going to just go grab the video and then it'll be us on the side talking with like a fancy background.
Okay.
And I'm going to make us both look skinny too, just so you know.
Thank you. I appreciate that, man.
They must weigh like 220. When I was
those in shape offensive line coaches in the
when I was 14.
I don't even think then, man.